So I've got a note here for you, Garrett.
Oh, for me? Okay.
Well, for you and for Child's Play.
Yes. I'll represent Child's Play.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll put on my Child's Play hat as I'm wearing all
the hoodie. Yeah,
the hoodie and the
Yeah,
shirt. Yeah.
He's got the merch. I think you're
it's
all
okay.
right.
I think I can field it.
Yeah. So this is someone from chat sent this is. Hi, Bus and chat. Your boy Vazon46 back once again. Once a bus. I like to share what bus means to me. And now that we have a Child's Play member with us, now is the perfect time. Way back in the day, when I was in 3rd grade, I was diagnosed with ITP, which is an abbreviation for some long medical name, but it means that I have extremely low blood platelets. I bruised very easily, paper cuts would bleed for hours, and I couldn't go outside for recess or gym or field trips because internal bleeding was a serious risk for if I fell. It wasn't a great time. Doctors tried treatment after treatment to try to cure my sickness, but nothing worked. After a couple of years, we were essentially presented with a final couple of options. We had to choose between either removing my spleen or getting a series of shots over 2 weeks, which would kill me if I had an allergic reaction. Seeing how I was allergic to literally every other treatment, the spleen was getting removed. I sat in a hospital room for about 2 weeks, just kind of spacing out. This was a time before cell phones, so I really didn't have anything to keep me company. After some time, a nurse said to me, "Well, we have a game you could play if you like." So I obviously jumped at the occasion. I was brought a GameCube, the nurse hooked it up. The problem was that it was just the GameCube. No game and no wireless controller, so I couldn't reach the hospital bed even if there was a game to play. Unfortunately, the nurse and doctor didn't really understand what the problem was because it's a game, and it was once again left with nothing to do with my recovery time. I'm here helping Bus along because I want to make sure that no kid had to have a similarly bad experience. Thank you, Bus and Child's Play, for all that you do.
Yeah.
Yay!
That's awesome.
That's amazing. And so that is actually a story that we've heard in various forms throughout the years, and that was actually kind of the impetus for creating the Therapeutic Gaming program and giving out grants to hospitals, because we found that we'd go to hospitals and visit and give them, Xboxes or Nintendo Wii's or any game systems, and then we'd come back a year later and visit, and we'd see, well, why are there all these Xboxes in the closet? It's like, well, because no one here knew what to do with them when they broke or when they lost the games, and that was a big pain point because they would work until they didn't. And so we kind of pivoted basically our entire, idea of what to do with Child's Play around supporting hospitals to have someone who knows what to do with the games, so game systems. And so that's where Therapeutic Gaming and the various names it has kind of sprung up, is from needing to have someone who can be a liaison between providers and people that don't understand technology and patients in the rooms. And it's kind of blossomed from there. I would say that just managing the tech side is actually probably like the lowest effort, high yield part of the position, but there's so much more that it can do. And that personal interaction with a patient, that it's like when you say, I'm an adult that understands what you're saying and also participates in it.
Yeah.
So you can engage with the discourse in the way that they find engaging and passionate about, and that's just it's so rewarding and so impactful that it's really hard to put into words. But this is kind of a preaching to the choir situation, because everyone here really knows how beneficial and the power of healing the games can have. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's a perfect example of why it's so important.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to get a reminder for that, because we often, like when we're here, we're goofing around, we have that number there, but it's a little bit abstract at times what we're actually raising money for. So I always appreciate when people come in from Child's Play and share their personal experiences with being in a hospital and what gaming can mean to them. That actually like drives home. It's like, this is why we're doing this. This is the actual purpose that we are, running ourselves ragged for a week and making fools of ourselves on the internet and playing this terrible game.
There's a picture of Forrest, my old coworker at Seattle Children's Hospital on the Ask Who. I saw a couple comments, someone asking, how do you get this job? And so the way that I got that job before I was at Child's Play was I just found it online on Indeed. There was a posting. I was actually a librarian, and then I was laid off. and I was looking for a job. My degree's in technology, but I also have an informatics degree from the University of Washington. So it's kind of like a undergraduate library science. So I have I had these skills of working with kids, running a summer camp, and then all these skills of technology and what to do. So when I was laid off from the library, I was looking for jobs that had either or, and then on a whim, I just searched for a combined job that had both children and technology, and literally the only job that popped up was the one at Seattle Children's, and I applied and I got that job. But that's how most people get this job. Coming to things like this and seeing all the good work it does, and then looking for postings. If you follow Child's Play on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, every time that there's an opening, we give grants out every year from largely from this fundraiser. The money goes almost directly into funding those positions around the country and other countries. And so following us, every time there's a new position posted, we post it there. You're probably going to have to be willing to relocate, but it's probably worth it. Yeah, it's just, so like the more money this raises, the more people can do it. Every year is more. When I started at Seattle Children's, there was, I think, 5 other people, and most of them had just started. So a few people have been doing it in various forms, but now there's about 60 people at about 50 hospitals.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so that's over the course of 5 years. So I started in 2018, and so.
And it's not just hospitals, right?
Yeah, there's also we support domestic violence shelters and some homeless shelters. We want to expand more into that. That's kind of on the horizon. So it's predominantly hospitals, but or like outpatient clinics. So it's not all of them are full hospitals. Some of them have hospital adjacent factors. But there's a lot, and I have big plans on how to expand it more. But I've only been with Child's Play for like 3 months now, so I can only do so much in so little time. But that's on the horizon. We have a lot of really cool, exciting initiatives we want to do.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Thanks for letting us know.
Of course, yeah. I could talk forever about it, so we probably should put a pin in it. But
No.
I mean, that's why we're here.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, you're good. Go off.
Yeah.
And outside of Desert Bus, the first place I ran into the work of Child's Play was a domestic violence shelter in Vancouver, who the counselors were so ecstatic because it turns out you get the kids to come home to what is ostensibly one of the worst places to come home to, aside from the place that they just were, and they don't necessarily want to come out and talk and speak with the counselors and speak with the staff who are there, but you sit down together and play Mario Kart, and all of a sudden they're talking. And that was what had the staff there, really, really excited.
That's such a big, so many times if you go in, and I would get these referrals from providers being, this patient, it's like 13-year-old boy he doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to take his medicine, doesn't want to participate in his care, but I know he likes video games. And so I would go in there and I would introduce myself, and usually I'd be like, hi, I'm Garrett, I'm really good at video games, I'm the gaming specialist, and they'd be like, no, you're not. And I'd be like, all right, well, do you want to play like Smash Bros? I'm pretty good. You can either
torch him?
Yeah, I was like, you could be on my team or you could be against me. And he's like, I'm gonna be against you. And then I would demolish them. And then they would immediately turn to me and go, I want to be on your team. And so that happened like hundreds of times. That basically that same with a slightly different flavor. And then they're like, oh, you're not just blowing smoke, you're real. Like I'm pretty good at Smash Bros. And most games I'm pretty decent at. So.
Do you ever do that thing where you let them pick your character? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'll roll
Yeah.
Jiggly.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I or do handicap 3v1.
Right? Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, as long as you're
yeah.
like tap dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
exactly.
it. I love it.
But then but so many times I would just, and then after that moment I would go and then I would do sessions with them, and they're like, come back, well, what did you do? They they want to take their medicine now, and they like listening to things. It's like, I just played Smash Bros. I just beat them at Smash Bros. That's all I did. And that was all it takes to kind of open up, and that's just a small sliver of like the power of using games in like a therapeutic way. Like it's not it's not just it's taking commercial products, but it's like the application and like how you go about using it, and it's empowering and giving them access to online games, giving them an escape, an outlet for them to be creative, collaborating. Sometimes we would do games across the hospital. I had a couple initiatives of getting people play in the same area. It's there's a million things you can do, and it just depends on the resources you have, but it's a lot of creative problem solving and just using games in a cool way.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
Amazing. We're getting close to our time for our live auction, but really quickly, there's a challenge here to say, 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 there's a challenge here to say,
Can
there's
somebody hit the reset button?
Yeah.
Can
Thank
we-
you.
Yeah.
And just keep going like that until someone calls you on it.
Thank you, Jacob.